Chapter 1: The Island of Santo Domingo. Once upon a time, amidst the azure waters of the Caribbean Sea, lay the verdant jewel of Santo Domingo. Its shores kissed by golden sands and lush forests, it was a land of breathtaking beauty and untold riches. Yet, beneath its idyllic facade, a dark undercurrent of oppression and cruelty flowed, casting a shadow over the lives of its inhabitants. At the heart of this paradise-turned-nightmare stood vast plantations, their sprawling fields stretching as far as the eye could see. Here, amidst the swaying cane and towering palms, toiled the enslaved masses, their bodies bent beneath the weight of chains forged from the sins of their captors. Among these oppressed souls was Leopold, a young man born into bondage on the sun-baked soil of Santo Domingo. From his earliest days, Leopold had known nothing but the harsh realities of slavery, his childhood innocence stripped away by the brutality of his existence. Leopold's master, Monsieur de la Marche, ruled over his plantation with an iron fist, his every whim enforced with merciless efficiency. To him, Leopold and his fellow slaves were little more than chattel, expendable pawns in a game of power and greed. Each day dawned with the sound of chains rattling and whips cracking, as Leopold and his brethren toiled under the scorching sun. From dawn till dusk, they labored ceaselessly, their bodies racked with exhaustion and pain, yet their spirits unbroken by the weight of their burdens. Yet amidst the despair of their plight, a glimmer of hope flickered in the darkness. Tales whispered in hushed tones spoke of a legendary figure known only as Bug-Jargal, a rebel slave who dared to defy his oppressors and fight for the freedom of his people. Bug-Jargal's name was uttered with a mixture of fear and reverence, his exploits shrouded in mystery and legend. Some claimed he possessed supernatural powers, while others spoke of his unmatched skill in battle. To Leopold and his fellow slaves, Bug-Jargal represented the embodiment of their deepest desires, the symbol of their longing for liberation. As the sun dipped below the horizon and the stars painted the sky with their ethereal glow, Leopold would often find himself gazing out across the vast expanse of the plantation, his thoughts consumed by visions of a better tomorrow. In the quiet of the night, amidst the rustling of the palm fronds and the distant cries of nocturnal creatures, he dared to dream of a day when chains would no longer bind him, and freedom would be more than just a distant memory. But little did Leopold know that his fate was about to take a dramatic turn, as the winds of change began to stir on the island of Santo Domingo. And thus, amidst the oppressive heat of the Caribbean night, the stage was set for a tale of defiance, courage, and the unyielding spirit of humanity. Chapter 2: The Cruel Master. Monsieur de la Marche, the master of the sprawling plantation on the island of Santo Domingo, was a man of unyielding cruelty and insatiable greed. His towering figure cast a shadow over the lives of those who toiled beneath him, his every word a decree to be obeyed without question. From the moment the sun kissed the horizon to the fading light of dusk, Monsieur de la Marche ruled over his domain with an iron fist, his whip cracking like thunder over the backs of his enslaved subjects. To him, they were nothing but commodities, mere tools to be exploited for his own gain. Among those who bore the brunt of his wrath was Leopold, a young man whose spirit refused to be broken by the weight of his chains. Day after day, he endured the back-breaking labor demanded of him by his master, his muscles aching and his body weary, yet his resolve unshaken. But it was not just the physical torment inflicted upon the slaves that made Monsieur de la Marche a tyrant of the highest order. It was the cold indifference with which he regarded their suffering, the callous disregard for their humanity that set him apart as a master unlike any other. For Monsieur de la Marche, the cries of pain and anguish that echoed through the plantation were nothing more than background noise, the soundtrack to his relentless pursuit of profit and power. He reveled in the fear he inspired in his subjects, feeding off their despair like a ravenous beast. Yet amidst the darkness of his reign, there burned a tiny ember of defiance in the hearts of those who dared to dream of a world where justice reigned supreme. Leopold and his fellow slaves whispered words of resistance in the dead of night, their spirits unbroken by the chains that bound them. But even as they plotted and schemed in the shadows, they knew that their struggle against Monsieur de la Marche would not be easily won. He was a master of deception and manipulation, his every move calculated to maintain his stranglehold on power. And so, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the plantation fell silent once more, Leopold and his brethren braced themselves for another day of torment at the hands of their cruel master. But deep within their hearts burned the fire of defiance, a flame that refused to be extinguished, even in the face of the darkest of nights. Chapter 3: The Meeting. In the heart of the oppressive plantation on the island of Santo Domingo, amidst the sweltering heat and the pervasive scent of sweat and fear, a clandestine meeting took place that would change the course of Leopold d'Auvigny's life forever. It was a night like any other, the moon casting its silvery glow over the fields of sugarcane as Leopold stole away from his meager sleeping quarters, his heart pounding with a mixture of fear and anticipation. He had heard whispers of rebellion, rumors of a mysterious figure who dared to defy the cruel master that held them all in bondage. As he navigated the labyrinthine paths that wound through the plantation, Leopold's senses were heightened, every rustle of the leaves and every distant sound magnified in the stillness of the night. He knew that discovery could mean certain death, yet he pressed on, driven by an unquenchable thirst for freedom. And then, amidst the shadows of a forgotten corner of the plantation, Leopold saw him, a figure cloaked in darkness, his eyes gleaming with a fierce intensity that sent shivers down Leopold's spine. This was Bug-Jargal, the legendary rebel slave whose name was whispered in hushed tones by those who dared to dream of a life unshackled by chains. Bug-Jargal's presence commanded respect, his every movement imbued with an aura of authority and power. He spoke with a voice that resonated with the weight of centuries of oppression, his words like a clarion call to arms for those who longed for liberation. Leopold listened intently as Bug-Jargal outlined his vision for a future free from the shackles of slavery, his words igniting a spark of defiance within Leopold's soul. Here was a man who dared to defy the powers that sought to keep them all in bondage, a man who refused to accept the status quo and who was willing to fight for a better tomorrow. As Bug-Jargal spoke of resistance and revolution, Leopold felt a sense of exhilaration course through his veins, his fears and doubts melting away in the face of such unbridled courage. In that moment, he knew that he had found his purpose, to stand alongside Bug-Jargal and his band of rebels in their quest for freedom. And so, as the first light of dawn began to paint the sky with hues of pink and gold, Leopold made a solemn vow to himself and to his newfound comrades. He would fight alongside Bug-Jargal until his last breath, for he knew that the path to freedom would be fraught with danger and hardship, but it was a journey worth embarking upon. With the knowledge that he was no longer alone in his struggle, Leopold returned to his quarters that night with a newfound sense of hope burning bright within his heart. For he had found in Bug-Jargal a leader worth following, a beacon of light in the darkness of their oppression, and together they would defy the odds and forge a future where chains would no longer bind them. Chapter 4: The Escape. As the oppressive heat of the Santo Domingo sun beat down upon the plantation, Leopold d'Auvigny and his fellow slaves found themselves consumed by a newfound sense of purpose. The words of Bug-Jargal, the rebel slave leader who had emerged from the shadows like a specter of hope, echoed in their minds, filling them with a courage they had never known before. Driven by an unyielding desire for freedom, Leopold and his comrades began to lay the groundwork for their daring escape from the clutches of their oppressors. Under the cover of darkness, they convened secret meetings, mapping out their route to liberation with meticulous care and precision. Their plan was audacious yet simple: to slip away under the cover of night, evading the watchful eyes of their masters and disappearing into the dense jungles that surrounded the plantation like a labyrinth of green. It was a perilous journey fraught with danger at every turn, but they knew that the risk was worth taking if it meant reclaiming their dignity and humanity. And so, on the appointed night, as the moon hung low in the sky and the air was heavy with the scent of impending rain, Leopold and his comrades made their move. With hearts pounding and adrenaline coursing through their veins, they crept through the shadows, their footsteps silent as ghosts on the wind. Their escape was not without its challenges. They encountered patrols of overseers armed with whips and rifles, their shouts echoing through the night like thunderclaps. But Leopold and his comrades were determined, their resolve unshaken by the obstacles that lay in their path. Through dense underbrush and treacherous terrain, they pressed on, guided by the faint glimmer of hope that burned like a beacon in the darkness. Each step brought them closer to their goal, their spirits buoyed by the knowledge that they were no longer slaves, but warriors fighting for their right to be free. As dawn broke on the horizon, casting a golden hue over the landscape, Leopold and his comrades emerged from the depths of the jungle, their faces streaked with dirt and sweat, but their hearts soaring with triumph. They had eluded their captors and escaped the bonds of slavery, and in that moment, they felt more alive than they ever had before. But their journey was far from over. The road to freedom stretched out before them like an endless ribbon of possibility, and they knew that they would face many more trials and tribulations before they could truly call themselves free. Yet with Bug-Jargal at their side, leading them with unwavering resolve, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, for they knew that together, they were unstoppable. Chapter 5: The Brotherhood. With the taste of freedom sweet upon their lips, Leopold d'Auvigny and his comrades found themselves bound together not only by their shared struggle but by the unbreakable bonds of brotherhood. As they journeyed through the untamed wilderness of Santo Domingo, each step brought them closer to one another, forging a connection that transcended the barriers of race and background. In the heart of the jungle, amidst towering trees and lush foliage, Leopold and his newfound brethren formed a ragtag band of rebels united in their quest for justice and liberation. They hailed from different walks of life, their stories as varied as the stars in the night sky, yet they were bound together by a common purpose: to defy their oppressors and reclaim their humanity. Under the leadership of Bug-Jargal, the enigmatic rebel slave whose legend grew with each passing day, the Brotherhood flourished, their spirits lifted by the promise of a future where chains would no longer bind them. They shared laughter and tears, victories and defeats, their bonds growing stronger with each passing moment. In the quiet moments between battles and skirmishes, Leopold and his comrades found solace in one another's company, their shared experiences forging a kinship that transcended words. They shared stories of their pasts, of loved ones lost and dreams deferred, finding comfort in the knowledge that they were not alone in their struggle. But amidst the camaraderie and fellowship, there lurked shadows of doubt and fear. The road to freedom was fraught with peril, and the specter of betrayal loomed large in the minds of the Brotherhood. They knew that their enemies would stop at nothing to crush their rebellion, and that even among their own ranks, there may be those who sought to undermine their cause. Yet in the face of adversity, the Brotherhood remained steadfast, their unity a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. They fought side by side, their voices raised in defiance against the forces of tyranny, their determination unwavering in the face of overwhelming odds. As they traversed the rugged landscape of Santo Domingo, each member of the Brotherhood brought their own unique skills and talents to the table, their strengths complementing one another in their quest for freedom. Together, they were a force to be reckoned with, a beacon of hope in a world shrouded in darkness. And so, as they marched ever onward towards the horizon, their hearts filled with courage and determination, Leopold and his comrades knew that they were more than just a band of rebels. They were a brotherhood forged in the crucible of adversity, bound together by the unbreakable bonds of solidarity and shared purpose. And with Bug-Jargal at their helm, leading them with wisdom and strength, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, secure in the knowledge that together they could overcome anything. Chapter 6: The Betrayal. In the midst of the Brotherhood's valiant struggle for freedom on the island of Santo Domingo, whispers of treachery began to poison the air like a lingering toxin. As Bug-Jargal and his comrades fought tirelessly against the oppressive forces that sought to crush their rebellion, shadows of doubt and suspicion crept into their ranks, threatening to unravel the very fabric of their unity. It began with murmurs heard in the dead of night, fleeting glances exchanged between comrades that spoke volumes without uttering a single word. Rumors circulated like wildfire, fueling paranoia and mistrust as the Brotherhood grappled with the realization that their enemies may be closer than they had ever dared to imagine. Leopold, once filled with unwavering faith in the righteousness of their cause, found himself plagued by doubts as whispers of betrayal wormed their way into his consciousness. He watched with a heavy heart as divisions began to form within the Brotherhood, as suspicions grew like weeds in a garden choked by darkness. It was a subtle shift at first, a missed rendezvous here, a whispered conversation there, but as tensions mounted and loyalties were tested, it became increasingly clear that something sinister was afoot. Bug-Jargal, the enigmatic leader whose very presence had inspired hope in the hearts of his comrades, found himself facing accusations of treachery from those who once revered him as a hero. Leopold wrestled with conflicting emotions as he struggled to reconcile the image of the noble rebel leader he had come to admire with the whispers of betrayal that now surrounded him. He knew that to doubt Bug-Jargal was to doubt the very foundation of their rebellion, yet he could not shake the gnawing feeling of uncertainty that gnawed at his soul. As the rift within the Brotherhood widened, Leopold found himself torn between loyalty to his comrades and allegiance to his own conscience. He witnessed acts of sabotage and subterfuge that threatened to tear them apart from within, and he knew that if they were to have any hope of emerging victorious, they would need to confront the specter of betrayal head-on. And so, with a heavy heart and a resolve forged in the crucible of adversity, Leopold and a handful of his most trusted comrades embarked on a dangerous mission to uncover the truth behind the whispers that had torn their brotherhood asunder. They delved deep into the heart of darkness, risking life and limb in their quest for answers that would either vindicate their leader or condemn him to infamy. What they discovered would shake them to their core, revealing truths more devastating than they could have ever imagined. For amidst the chaos and turmoil of their rebellion, a serpent lurked in their midst, its venomous bite threatening to poison them all. And as the Brotherhood stood on the precipice of destruction, they knew that only by confronting the betrayal within their ranks could they hope to emerge from the darkness into the light. Chapter 7: The Battle. As tensions reached a boiling point within the Brotherhood, the island of Santo Domingo trembled on the precipice of all-out war. The whispers of betrayal that had plagued Bug-Jargal and his comrades threatened to tear them apart from within, but in the face of adversity, they knew that they could not afford to falter. For the forces of oppression were gathering at their doorstep, their ranks bolstered by the traitors in their midst who sought to crush their rebellion before it could truly begin. The air crackled with anticipation as Bug-Jargal and his loyal followers prepared to meet their adversaries head-on, their spirits undaunted by the daunting odds that lay before them. They knew that the road to freedom would be paved with blood and sacrifice, but they were willing to pay any price to secure their liberation from the chains of slavery. And so, as the sun rose on the horizon, casting its golden light over the battlefield, Bug-Jargal and his comrades stood ready to face their destiny. They were outnumbered and outmatched by the forces of their oppressors, but they possessed something far more powerful, the unbreakable spirit of a people who refused to be silenced. The battle that ensued was fierce and brutal, a symphony of clashing steel and thunderous cannon fire that echoed across the island like a war cry. Bug-Jargal led his comrades into the fray with unwavering resolve, his voice ringing out above the chaos as he rallied them to fight for their freedom with every ounce of strength they possessed. Leopold fought alongside his brothers and sisters in arms, his heart pounding with adrenaline as he clashed with the enemy forces that sought to crush their rebellion. Each blow he struck was a testament to his determination, each step he took a defiance against the forces of tyranny that sought to keep them all in chains. The battle raged on for hours, the tide of conflict ebbing and flowing like the tides of the sea. Bodies fell on both sides, their blood staining the earth crimson as the cries of the fallen echoed through the air. But amidst the chaos and carnage, Bug-Jargal and his comrades remained steadfast, their resolve unshaken by the horrors that surrounded them. And then, in a moment of clarity amidst the storm, victory was theirs. The forces of oppression faltered and fell before the relentless onslaught of the Brotherhood, their ranks broken and their spirit shattered by the unyielding courage of those who fought for their freedom. As the last echoes of battle faded into the distance and the dust settled on the blood-soaked earth, Bug-Jargal and his comrades stood triumphant amidst the ruins of their victory. They had emerged from the crucible of conflict stronger and more determined than ever, their spirits unbroken by the trials they had endured. But even as they celebrated their hard-won victory, they knew that their fight was far from over. For the forces of oppression would not rest until they had crushed their rebellion once and for all, and Bug-Jargal and his comrades would need to remain vigilant if they were to secure their freedom in the face of such relentless adversity. Chapter 8: The Sacrifice. In the aftermath of the hard-fought battle that had left the island of Santo Domingo trembling in the wake of their victory, Bug-Jargal and his comrades stood amidst the ruins of their triumph, their spirits tempered by the heavy toll that freedom had exacted upon them. For in the crucible of conflict, amidst the clash of steel and the thunder of cannons, they had paid a price that could never be measured in gold or glory. It was a price paid in blood and sacrifice, a debt owed to those who had laid down their lives so that others might know the sweet taste of liberation. Among them was Bug-Jargal, the enigmatic leader whose legend had inspired hope in the hearts of his comrades, his noble deeds forever etched into the annals of history. Bug-Jargal had led his comrades into battle with unwavering courage and determination, his voice ringing out above the chaos as he rallied them to fight for their freedom with every ounce of strength they possessed. But amidst the heat of battle, tragedy had struck, and Bug-Jargal had made the ultimate sacrifice to secure victory for his people. His death had come swift and sudden, a cruel twist of fate that had robbed the Brotherhood of their leader and left them reeling in its wake. Yet even in death, Bug-Jargal's spirit lived on, his memory serving as a beacon of hope for those who had fought by his side. Leopold stood among his comrades, his heart heavy with grief yet his resolve unshaken by the loss of their beloved leader. For Bug-Jargal's sacrifice had not been in vain, it had ignited a flame of defiance within their souls, a flame that would burn bright long after the smoke of battle had cleared. As they mourned the passing of their fallen comrade, Bug-Jargal's comrades vowed to honor his memory by continuing the fight for freedom with the same unwavering courage and determination that had defined his life. They knew that their journey was far from over, that the road to liberation would be long and fraught with peril, but they were willing to pay any price to secure their freedom and ensure that Bug-Jargal's sacrifice would never be forgotten. And so, as they stood amidst the ruins of their victory, Bug-Jargal's comrades pledged to carry on his legacy, to fight for justice and equality with every fiber of their being. For they knew that as long as they drew breath, the spirit of Bug-Jargal would live on within them, guiding their every step on the path to a brighter tomorrow. Chapter 9: The Redemption. In the wake of Bug-Jargal's sacrifice, Leopold and his fellow rebels found themselves standing at a crossroads, their hearts heavy with grief yet their spirits emboldened by the memory of their fallen leader. As they surveyed the landscape of their shattered dreams, they knew that their journey was far from over, that the road to redemption would be long and arduous, but they were determined to press onward, guided by the indomitable spirit of their beloved comrade. With each passing day, the Brotherhood worked tirelessly to rebuild what had been lost in the fires of conflict, their hands toiling in the soil of their newfound freedom as they laid the foundations of a better tomorrow. They knew that the scars of the past would never fully heal, that the wounds inflicted upon their souls by the cruelty of their oppressors would linger long after the last echoes of battle had faded into the distance. Yet they refused to be defined by their pain, choosing instead to embrace the promise of redemption that lay before them. For Leopold and his comrades, redemption meant more than just the absence of chains, it meant reclaiming their dignity and humanity, forging a future where justice and equality reigned supreme. They worked side by side, their spirits united in their quest to build a society where the sins of the past were never repeated, where every man, woman, and child was free to pursue their dreams without fear of persecution or oppression. But as they labored to rebuild their shattered world, they knew that the specter of their past would always loom large in the shadows, threatening to drag them back into the abyss of despair. Memories of the battles they had fought and the sacrifices they had made haunted their dreams, reminding them of the heavy price they had paid for their freedom. Yet amidst the darkness, there were moments of light, moments when the Brotherhood found solace in the simple joys of life, when laughter and camaraderie banished the shadows that lingered in their hearts. They celebrated their victories and mourned their losses together, their bond stronger than ever in the face of adversity. And as the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, Leopold and his comrades began to see the fruits of their labor blossom like flowers in the spring. They watched with pride as fields once barren and desolate burst forth with life, as the laughter of children echoed through the streets of their newfound community, as the scars of the past began to fade into the mists of memory. But amidst the signs of progress, they knew that their journey was far from over, that the road to redemption was a long and winding path fraught with obstacles at every turn. Yet they were undeterred, for they knew that as long as they stood united, as long as they held fast to the principles of freedom and justice that had guided them thus far, they would prevail. And so, with Bug-Jargal's spirit guiding their every step, Leopold and his comrades marched ever onward into the dawn of a new day, their hearts filled with hope and determination as they embarked on the next chapter of their journey towards redemption. Chapter 10: The Legacy. As time unfurled its tapestry upon the island of Santo Domingo, the echoes of Bug-Jargal's valiant struggle reverberated through the corridors of history, leaving an indelible mark upon the hearts and minds of all who bore witness to his noble deeds. For Bug-Jargal was more than just a rebel slave. He was a symbol of resistance and resilience, a beacon of hope in a world shrouded in darkness. The legacy of Bug-Jargal and his comrades lived on in the hearts of the people, their stories passed down from generation to generation like a sacred flame that refused to be extinguished. They were hailed as heroes, their names spoken with reverence and awe by those who dared to dream of a better tomorrow. But Bug-Jargal's legacy was more than just a tale of valor and sacrifice. It was a reminder of the power of the human spirit to overcome even the most insurmountable of obstacles. His courage had inspired others to rise up against oppression, to fight for justice and equality with every fiber of their being. In the years that followed the Brotherhood's triumphant victory over their oppressors, Santo Domingo underwent a transformation unlike anything the island had ever seen before. Freed from the shackles of slavery, its people embraced a newfound sense of purpose and possibility, their spirits unbound by the chains of the past. The scars of their struggle remained etched upon the landscape, a testament to the trials they had endured in their quest for freedom. But amidst the ruins of their shattered dreams, new beginnings blossomed like flowers in the spring, as the people of Santo Domingo worked together to build a society where justice and equality reigned supreme. And at the heart of it all stood Bug-Jargal, his memory a guiding light in the darkness, his legacy a reminder of the sacrifices that had been made in the name of freedom. His spirit lived on in the hearts of all who dared to dream of a world where oppression was but a distant memory, where every man, woman, and child was free to pursue their dreams without fear or restraint. But Bug-Jargal's legacy extended far beyond the shores of Santo Domingo, reaching across oceans and continents to inspire countless others to stand up against injustice and tyranny. His story became a rallying cry for all who sought to defy the forces of oppression, his name whispered in hushed tones by those who dared to challenge the status quo. And so, as the sun set on the island of Santo Domingo, casting its golden rays upon a world forever changed by the bravery of Bug-Jargal and his comrades, their legacy lived on in the hearts of all who dared to believe that a brighter tomorrow was possible. For as long as there were those willing to fight for freedom, the spirit of Bug-Jargal would never fade away, but would continue to burn bright as a beacon of hope for generations to come. Chapter 11: The End. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting its golden glow upon the island of Santo Domingo, Leopold stood amidst the remnants of a world forever changed by the tumultuous events that had shaped its destiny. The echoes of Bug-Jargal's valiant struggle lingered in the air like a haunting melody, a reminder of the sacrifices that had been made in the name of freedom. For Leopold and his fellow rebels, the journey had been long and arduous, filled with triumph and tragedy, joy and sorrow. They had faced insurmountable odds, battled against forces far greater than themselves, but through it all, they had remained steadfast in their commitment to a brighter tomorrow. As they surveyed the landscape of their newfound freedom, Leopold and his comrades knew that their fight was far from over. The road ahead would be fraught with challenges and obstacles, but they were ready to face whatever lay in store, guided by the spirit of Bug-Jargal and the unbreakable bonds of brotherhood that bound them together. But as they looked towards the future, they also took a moment to reflect upon the past, upon the trials and tribulations that had shaped them into the people they had become. They honored the memory of those who had fallen in the struggle for freedom, their names etched into the annals of history as heroes who had given their lives so that others might know the sweet taste of liberation. And amidst the chaos and uncertainty of their world, they found solace in the knowledge that they were not alone, that as long as they stood united, they could overcome any obstacle, conquer any challenge that stood in their way. For they were not just rebels fighting against oppression, but pioneers forging a new path towards a future where justice and equality reigned supreme. As the stars twinkled overhead, casting their ethereal light upon the world below, Leopold and his comrades took a moment to savor the quiet beauty of the night, to revel in the peace that had been so hard won. They knew that the journey ahead would be long and difficult, but they were ready to face it together, their spirits buoyed by the knowledge that they had fought for something greater than themselves, for the promise of a world where all people could live free from fear and oppression. And so, as the night stretched out before them like a vast expanse of possibility, Leopold and his comrades took their first steps into the unknown, their hearts filled with hope and determination as they embarked on the next chapter of their journey towards a brighter tomorrow. For though the end of one chapter may mark the beginning of another, their story would live on in the hearts of all who dared to believe that a better world was possible.